So today we're going to do legs. So we're going to start with a one-legged bridge. The way you set it up is you lay down and you put your legs down so that your fingers can just barely touch them. If you're to lean forward, see how they're pretty close. And you put one leg out and you lift up. You hold this for 20 seconds and then you bring it back down and you switch legs and lift back up. The goal is to make sure you're pushing up with your butt. You're squeezing your butt as much as you can and lifting up. You're not using your arms to lift yourself up. So if you wanted, your arms could be flying around, but it's just to support your back. And you're gonna do that 3 times, 20 seconds on each leg. And then next, we're gonna do squats. So squats, you wanna make sure that your legs are about hip width apart or shoulder width apart. So that far. You don't want it any further, and you want to make sure your toes are facing directly forward. So the way to set up a perfect squat is to make sure that your knees don't go any further than like just about right in front of your toes, but it's better if it doesn't go any further than like the laces of your shoes. And so your knees, you want to make sure don't collapse in like this, and you kind of almost want to push them out. Not push them out so you're like this, but the natural tendency is to go in, so you want to kind of keep them more out than you naturally would. So when you bend down, see how this part doesn't move, it's all in your butt, and it's almost like you're sitting back in a chair. So we're going to do 3 sets of 10 of these, and you go back, and this is how you do it. 1, see how butt is back, knees aren't over my toes, and your arms are in front. Back up and back up. And again, look how my knees aren't collapsing in. If your knees are going like this at all, that'll cause you problems. So you want to make sure that your knees stay in line with your feet and they don't start to go in. So next, and you do that 3 times, 10 times within each set. So next, we're going to do jumping squats. You kind of set up the same way you would for a normal squat like I just showed you, except when you bend down, instead of just coming straight up, you jump up and then you land. So when you land, you want to make sure you aren't just landing flat foot like that. You land so that your toes land first and then you come back down. So watch. You go into your squat, kind of bring your arms down so that you can blast up. And you're going to do that. And again, make sure your knees aren't collapsing in. And that go slow through them. You don't want to just be hopping up and down. You want to make sure you're going all the way down to that lunge or into that squat and jumping up and then going back down. And kind of like hold it for a second before you go back up. And you're going to be doing that 10 to 15 times, 3 times. So then after that, we're going to be doing lunges. And lunges, we're going to do the stagnant lunges instead of walking lunges. So basically, you're going to be about 2.5 to 3 feet distance between your front and your back leg. Your back leg is going to be straight, your front leg is going to be bent. And you're going to, when you bend down, you're going to bend down from, you're going to feel it in your front leg's butt cheek. So you bend down and your hamstrings. You'll get a slight bend in the back leg, but you don't want it to be fully bent. So you bend down to where it's a right angle. And you go back up, down, up. And again, make sure your toes or your knee doesn't go in front of your toes. So it's just this part of your body that's moving. We're going to do this, and again, make sure your knee isn't wiggling around. Everything stays in one place. And we're going to do this 10 to 15 times and 3 3 sets of it. And you should feel it all in your hamstrings and your butt. You might feel a little bit of a stretch in the back leg right here, but not really like you're working it out. And then you just switch legs to the other side. Again, making sure you go all the way down to where it's a right angle and to where your knee isn't going in front of your ankle. And again, do this side 10 to 15 times, 3 sets. So total, it'll be 10 to 15 times, 3 times on this side, and then the same thing on this side. So then, after that, we're going to do side lunges. And there's 2 different ways you can do this. One is stepping out and going in, but I think for you, we'll just start the stagnant way again. So you're going to get your legs about 3 feet apart, and you're going to point your toes forward. You don't want them out like this. You want them pointing forward. So you're going to, actually maybe like 3.5 feet. So you hold your arms up. You hold your arms up, and then you're just going to lunge to the side, following the same things where your knee isn't going to go above your toes. And make sure it's staying still, it's not wiggling around. And then go to the other side. So fluidly in one motion, you're just switching your weight one side to the other until the other side leg is straight and this side is bent. So you're going to do this 1, 2, 3, and also make sure you're not too far forward like this. You want to try and keep your back straight up as possible. And you're going to do this 20 times and do 3 sets. Okay, so next we're going to do sumo squats, and that gets mostly this area. So we've been working on the hamstrings and butt. Now we're going to get this inner thigh area. So a sumo squat is different because you're pointing your legs at like a 45-degree angle, not all the way out, but not pointing straight forward. So you're going to get about 2 feet apart, wider than you would a normal squat, and you're going to act as if you're sitting backward into a chair, again making sure your knee does not go above your toe. And you shouldn't feel like your knee is bending. You should feel like you're pushing your butt back. So it's right here, you're going thrusting back and coming back up. Thrusting back and coming back up. Again, making sure that your chest isn't falling down like this when you go down. So you're just going back, coming back up. And we're going to do this about 10 to 15 times and do 3 sets of it. So the theme is about 10 to 15 times for all the leg workouts and 3 sets of it all. So the last thing are toe-ups, and this is to work your calves. So normally you want to hold on to something and maybe hang off the ledge of like a staircase or something. But if you want, you can just do it like this, because it also works on your balance. And you basically just stand up on your toes. And it seems easy at first, which I know that you had to do this a lot when you were dancing. So you'll be familiar with this, but you want to go up and push yourself into as high up as you can go and then drop back down. Maybe you can hold it for a second and then come back down. And you want to do 3 sets of 30. It would be way better if you could do it off stairs, because then you get the full range of bending your foot as well. But if you don't have stairs that you can do it off of, this is fine too. And make sure that your whole body's straight, you're not leaning. If you're holding on to something, make sure you're not leaning and just going like this. Make sure it's just in front of you like a chair to keep you balanced, so you can go up and down like that. Now do all of that. For this, do 3 sets of 30. And if you feel like you can do more, then do more. I do 5 sets, which you don't have to do that, but you can work your way up to that. So do all those workouts we just talked about with the amount of sets and repetitions, and that's your leg and butt and calf workout for the day.